broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh, I've missed this anthem. Welcome, everyone. It's Pretty Little Liars AfterBuzz TV After Show, and it is We Love You to Death, the Fan Appreciation Halloween episode. I am your host, Kelly, and it is me and Stephanie tonight.
Yeah, excited to be back. I'm super excited for Pretty Little Liars again. Every time it feels like a huge break.
I know, and it's weird not having the Halloween episode, so they had to do something.
I know, and they kind of previewed that it's going to be a creepy Christmas episode, which I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of want that creepy Halloween episode, but the fan appreciation was good too, because they're in season 5 already, so it's nice to kind of look back and see where they're going, which was a lot of what this was about.
Right, I think one of my favorite things too, and I know, all of you guys that watch the show and, tweet with us and comment and all of that are always so good about noticing all of the props and the production style and everything about the way that the rooms are set. And, for us, we watch it once, we come straight in here. So, we unfortunately don't always have the luxury to kind of like stop and pause and rewind and freeze frame and all of that before we get to come in here and chat about it. So just kind of seeing the tidbit from the production designer that there is an A in every single episode, like they put it in every room. In every room there's an A. And I know I've noticed like a few, but, some of the ones that they pointed out, like the one in the, television stand, like I don't think I ever noticed that before.
Exactly. Or there was one in Ezra's apartment, I believe, and I hadn't caught that. So there were moments. I know fans have definitely tweeted us about all of that. It did remind me, though, this is an ABC Family show. And you know how in Disneyland you can find Mickeys throughout?
Yes, Mickeys are everywhere. You have to find the hidden Mickeys.
So it was like a creepy version of that.
Absolutely.
I mean, and it made me want to go back and watch the episodes again and find them, because it's a Where's Waldo game at this point.
Oh, absolutely. And the production, and hearing from the production designers and the set designers, on this show tonight, it's really interesting in how much detail they really do put into every single set.
It was so, the prop master who talked about creating the hotel guest book, incredible amount of effort goes into it. And I mean, I know from this industry and being around it that yes, that stuff does take time and effort, but I think to put it in the forefront in that way, there was a huge, I think 10 or 15 minute segment on the behind the scenes and how it all comes together.
Yeah.
That was a really amazing thing to not only showcase the girls, but to have kind of all the people that put a show together like that.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I don't think it would have the same, you wouldn't get the same out of it, I don't think, without the sets and the way that the rooms look. I mean, it's almost its own, it's almost, Rosewood is its own character. And, in Ravenswood, the same, like when you go to these places and we were watching, we're going with the girls, watching them kind of go through these rooms and all these things. It's, you look on the walls and you look around and just, it kind of brings that added element to what's happening.
I think we've mentioned it on the show before, but often their exterior sets are actually the same as Gilmore Girls, if you take a look, but you never think about it because it's dressed so differently. It feels different than how it did on Gilmore Girls. But to use those sets and be able to change them in such a way where, I mean, I was such a fan of Gilmore Girls that I figured it out, but I feel like if you weren't, it would not be something that like immediately popped in your head.
No, absolutely. And just, it's so great. And, the posters and, when you see like the hidden messages and the walls and, all these different things that kind of add that extra creepy element just, when you're walking into a place. It's just done so well, when they go into the doll shop and just, the way that all the dolls are and, just there's no like expense spared. Like they're really taking the time to make it what it is.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite reveals from tonight was the train episode, one of the past Halloween episodes, they had a train, and how they did it was putting it on suspensions to make it move like a train, because you know realistically that they're not on a moving train,
right?
But how do you create that? And that was kind of an insider, I don't know, just like the way the show is made week to week, how they do it. And you have to think about the number of sets they've had on that show. It's crazy,
I know.
because
like how extravagant they are.
Absolutely, because Big Bang Theory is filmed on the same lot, and they are like, oh, we're going outside. This is a big deal for us, and they're outside every day. So it's a very different experience on this show. I mean, it is a 1 hour drama, so they have a little more room to play with that. But still.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very interesting. And then, and then they, go into and talk about just the social media presence of the show and how it's, broken records. And if you remember when the show first debuted, social media was, was a baby. It was very, very new. So the fact that they came in, right when social media was, being introduced, and it just took off the way that it did.
And now they're the most tweeted about show, which is incredible. I mean, and a testament to them.
Well, I think one of my favorite things was listening to one of the executive producers. So that he commented back, and he, left a comment in all caps, and somebody asked him, why are you yelling? He's like, oh, I didn't know I was yelling. I just didn't know how to take the caps lock off. And that's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways of communicating on Twitter or in social media in general that are so different from how we communicate day to day, but the show has really kind of connected fans, and that was what this episode was all about, was that connection that they've created to fans. And they had a lot of what we get, either tweets or like the video commentary.
The YouTube comments and all of that. And I love the fan reaction videos.
So fun.
Just like that's how interactive that this show is, that you're actually, posting videos of yourself watching the show, which is awesome. I mean, that just shows how much people are connecting with this show and the writing, and just how invested they are in these characters.
Yeah, oftentimes we're pretty silent when we're watching the show because we are trying to catch all those details. But tonight I felt like would have been the perfect night. We should have live tweeted it, because
I know.
we had so many fun comments, and we're trying to bring them up in here. But so funny we were so surprised by certain things, and I hope fans were surprised too. There were a number of interesting reveals that I just felt like, oh, that's funny. And also, I personally am always interested in kind of the moment that actors or celebrities figure out they're successful, that moment that that like their life changes in some way. And that was part of what they talked about at the beginning of this fan special, was that this show, kind of the success of it and the runaway train that it became was a surprise to them. And I think it was Troyan who said that she was like in the backwoods of Canada and was recognized. She was like, wait, something has certainly
at
switched.
A grocery store or something. And it isn't just, all of these girls are just, there's no hiding. Everyone knows who they are. It just has done such an amazing thing for their career, and just kind of in general, just kind of the PLL army that's behind it.
Yeah, I mean, they all had acting careers, you could say, before this, but they were not household names, and that's certainly what Pretty Little Liars has done for them, is made them known, and they have millions, going back to Twitter, millions of followers, and and Lucy Hale is able, we talk about it all the time, a country record deal, which is something that I don't know that she would have without the show.
It definitely opened up new doors for them to be able to kind of take their career to that next level and explore, different opportunities. And, they also talked about how the show in general just shows different sides, and it shows the bond of friendship. And as much as, everybody's lying and killing and, dying, there is that underlying element that it is showcasing this true, bond of friendship, and how these girls will literally fight to almost the death for one another, no matter what's going on in their little, interpersonal relationship.
Absolutely. In our panel, we've said that they're always stronger together. And I think that might be one of the strongest messages of the show, is that they are stronger as the foursome of them rather than when they're working individually. Like, it's great that they have their individual strengths, but when they're together, it really is the strongest. And a fun fact about it is that I don't know if we've said it on the show before. I was really surprised by this. The creator of the show also did Now and Then, which is another story of
young girls
friendship. And I hadn't heard that until maybe a year or two ago, and I was really surprised by it. And I think that, she's a great storyteller for that 13 to 15-year-old, or even a little older now, 16, teenage girls and what they kind of go through.
Yeah, and just being able to kind of work through your growing pains and still maintain that friendship. Because all of these girls have different things that they've dealt with on their own, but they still know that they have each other to go to, whether they go right away or not. You know, that underlying second family is still there. And I think that's one of the big reasons why we hardly ever see the parents, because when you're a teenager, and I know it was this way for me, you know, all of my friends were my family. You know, you're always mad at your parents. You don't want them telling you what to do, you know, whatever. You think you're grown and all these things. And so your close friends become your family. And I know I complain, and we complain all the time, like, where are the parents when these girls are, like, you know, having guns pointed at them, being chased by killers and,
100%.
you know, all of that. But you know, I think that that's one of the reasons why is showing, because that's real. You know, how often do you really, like, when you're, you know, in those heightened teenage years, do you really run to your parents? They're like the last people you go to.
Yeah, your support system definitely becomes your friends. And it's interesting because we've mentioned on the show that we think that the parents have some relationship, or how they interplay to all this we haven't totally figured out yet. But it is, I think, at the core about these four girls and how they, you know, their fights and their, you know, when they come together, what happens to them and their kind of story of growing up, essentially, even though they are tormented. And I found it so interesting that tonight they actually referred to A as bullying the girls, because I know we've kind of played with that term before, and it's like, is it tormenting? Is it bullying? Where is that line? And it was interesting to hear them refer to it as bullying tonight.
Yeah, and it's definitely a topic that they, you know, that's what the whole series is about, is dealing with it. You know, what do you do? How do you fight back? How do you be okay and are able to deal with that? And watching them kind of go through it. I mean, hopefully, you know, normally it's not necessarily this extreme where there's actual, like, death and people following you around and stuff, that to the extreme of Pretty Little Liars, but it does, like, showcase when somebody is really, like, that tough and that skilled and on you, that you can still stand up, and you do have your friends and you guys can fight back and you don't have to take it.
In a lot of ways, it's about finding, or at least what the girls were saying tonight, it's kind of about finding their own inner strength against this outside force and not losing their friendships or even their relationships. And that was a big component of tonight's show as well, was all these relationships that fans tweet us about all the time that they love and hate. And we've got Ezria, we've got Emerson, Spoby, Caleb. I know. There's Paley. I mean, we all know who your favorite is. I was gonna say, come on, if you've been watching us, Arya and Ezra always. You know.
I think Caleb is my favorite.
I mean,
Hannah and Caleb. I think I love them.
I mean, I have a soft spot for all the different couples now. I'm not gonna, but I really, like, if I was gonna choose, it would have to be Arya and Ezra. But you should definitely tweet at us and let us know who your favorite is.
Use the hashtag PLLABTV so we can all join the conversation and chat about it.
Although I do have to say that, because I've spent long days on sets with people, and I love the girls referring to the guys as funny rather than yummy, because it kind of does happen. It's any coworker or anything that you have, it eventually, like...
Yeah, you've made it, you know, if it's an attractive guy, when he first comes in, like, the few times, you know, it's butterflies and it's nerves and all that, and he's so hot, and after you get to know him for a while, you don't even notice. Yeah, it's like, oh, that's so-and-so. What?
Yeah, exactly. You know too much much about them.
And it's not diminishing their hotness. It's just, you know, you kind of got immune to it. You got a little used to it.
And Troyan, I love that Troyan, I think fans are going to die over this, says that Keegan and her have a brother and sister type relationship. And I was like, I don't think anyone wants to know that. That's just like kind of revealing a little too much, like pulling the blanket back a little too much. But yeah, I don't know. It was sweet. And also I've heard for years that Lucy Hale really does get along with Ian Harding, and you saw that tonight. Ian seems very close to all the girls because he's been there since the pilot. A lot of them have come in since the pilot, and he's been there from the very beginning.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I have to say that going back to the props, I noticed in my notes here the creepy hand.
I know. I just looked at the same thing. I just wrote it down too. I know. How realistic was Miss DeLaurentis' hand? That's so gross.
It's so over the top. I know we're all getting ready for Halloween here, but I was just like, ooh, oh, okay, we're going there.
Well, one of the things too when you know, because they went back and had interviews with the dearly departed.
Yes.
And she was one of them, and she said she thought it was going to be like a shallow little movie grave, and it was actually a 6 feet deep grave they had her laying in.
Yeah, they don't joke around on the shows. What we learned tonight.
No, they do not. They try to stay true to form.
So,
and I think it's funny that just listening to them talk about having to play dead. That was really interesting too. Like Garrett. Yeah. Having to sit there and be dead while Arya's like screaming in his face.
Yeah, and I loved the photo of one of the I'm trying to remember
of Wilden casket
texting. Amazing. Thanks Ian Harding for capturing that lovely moment. Yeah, I mean I don't know how many hours. Think about the number of hours some of them have spent dead, because girls will look into the casket, or you'll see. It's just crazy to think about days. And actually that brings up spending days in a costume as well.
Yes.
Because they were talking about past Halloween episodes, and that day one, this is exactly how I would be, by the way. Day one, super excited about the costume. Can't wait to be in it. Let's spend hours putting it on, hair and makeup, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then I'd get increasingly more uncomfortable throughout the day. And day two, I'd be like, can we make this faster? Let's go. Like, I don't want to.
But it's still pretty. I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's worth it. Their costumes are
amazing.
Incredible.
But totally by day 7, you do want to set it on fire.
Yeah. So you're just like, oh, I could deeply identify with that.
Yes.
You're like so excited, and then you're again, really? Okay. And
I mean, could you imagine like day by day wearing the corset with the bones? Ew.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably, and they talked about this, like, what's the creepiest, like, on-set thing, and that's probably the creepiest for me. Every time I picture it, it gives me chills.
Yeah, I mean, corsets in general, so uncomfortable, but that would be just over the top.
Yes, super, super, super creepy. Well, I mean, it looks like we've got a lot to look forward to coming up for the Christmas episode. And
I know, I'm really excited. Okay, so first of all, I love a good Christmas episode. Let's start there. And that being said, snow. I'm really excited to see Rosewood with snow. I think that'll be really different, because a lot of shows have done snow, and they're definitely feel like they could have it, and it was exciting to see kind of those snippets of that. And I love that they filmed that in Burbank in July.
I know. They're gonna have an ice ball, which, because they always have to have some kind of ball.
Yeah.
Rosewood always has a ball, so they have an ice ball, which I'm looking forward to. And we're gonna get to see all the significant others in Santa boxers, including Paige.
I mean, why not? Let's go.
Why not? Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that it'll be a really fun. It looks so pretty. The ice ball. They kind of went for, I mean, I'm sure creepy things are going to happen during the episode, but in that moment that we saw, it was so pretty.
Yes, it was. I'm really, really excited to see it.
And we also, the biggest news, that they played twice for us.
Yes.
So the big A reveal will happen before season 7.
So we will get it in season 6. It'll probably be the season finale, but I would love it if it was like in the middle or even like the second episode. And then we go through the season knowing, How
great would that be?
I just don't think that we're going to get that nice of a treat.
I am very excited, though, that it's not going to be a How I Met Your Mother situation.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're going to have everything revealed to you in that last half hours, and just like, I have so many questions.
And there's nowhere to go.
Yeah. So that I'm excited that they're gonna give it time, and hopefully in the end, A will be caught. I mean, I think it'll probably be revealed to viewers first, but hopefully that final season will be about them actually getting all the puzzle pieces and finally catching them, and maybe having some sort of repercussion for all of this. I mean, that would be a very ABC Family.
It would. I have to say, I think one of my favorite quotes from the special tonight was Ian Harding when he said, when they were talking about the season finale last when Mona died, and he's like, oh my God, I thought we were, are we in, Saw 7? No, it's ABC Family.
Yeah. I agree with you. And actually, one of my favorites tonight also comes from him, where he was talking about the scientific trying to get scientific about what happens to people when they're scared, like the dopamine and all of that. He was like, but don't trust me. I only have a BA in theater. And I was just like, everyone has felt that. Totally. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
So ready for some news and gossip?
Yes, let's do news and gossip.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
There's so much of it because we haven't been here.
I know. Go.
So, Dancing with the Stars fans, you'll probably already know this, but Janelle Parrish, of course, is dancing this season with Val, and she just performed a very sexy rumba this past Monday night, last night. And there are all these dating rumors between her and Val. They're kind of perpetuating it on the show a bit.
Well, and her social media is like full of, snippets of them rehearsing and, the little Instagram videos and all of that, which I'm sure is just feeding the fire.
Absolutely. And I guess last week was the switch up on the show. And so this week it was like, I was so jealous when you were with another. They're definitely playing that aspect up. And she actually, unfortunately, did break up with her longtime boyfriend. And his name's Payson Lewis. I hope I'm saying that properly. And he announced on Instagram that all good things must come to an end. So sad to see that, and hopefully though she's happy if she's single or with Val, whatever.
She's having some fun. She's dancing. She's having fun.
Yeah, every tabloid has been reporting on this story, so it's crazy. And then Troyan, of course, is engaged to Patrick J. Adams. We've reported on that before. But she now has a guest role on her fiance's show, Suits, which is such a fun, amazing show.
Awesome.
Yeah, and she's playing a blast from the past, from his past. So
cute.
Claire, so be sure to check that out. I mean, I always think it's fun to see real life couples on camera. I don't know, maybe I'm totally in the minority on that, but I think it's fun. So whatever. And then Lucy Hale, in the continuing country music saga here, she's presenting at the CMAs November 5th. So that'll be fun to always see her. I mean, her outfits for every award show she goes to are out of this world.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be fun to see what she brings to.
Yeah, I feel like she always takes it like a country twist when she's doing something.
Well, and she did reveal that her Halloween costume this year is going to be Dolly Parton, so I wonder if we'll get to see images of that.
I mean, I hope so. I want to see all the Halloween costumes from them. It'll be amazing. I'm still determining mine, so hopefully maybe I'll get some inspiration. And that being said, also, there's a fun little tidbit in Us Weekly about Shay Mitchell's beauty routine. So she has that perfect hair. They all do on the show. Gorgeous, yeah. And she uses coconut oil.
Coconut oil is pretty awesome.
Yeah, she was like, I use it as a cleanser. It's phenomenal.
Definitely a multifunctional oil.
Yes, exactly. I keep hearing it's also a great makeup remover, apparently. So things you learn all the time. Yeah. So
Pretty Little Liars can teach you a lot of things.
Yeah, definitely check out her blog for more beauty tips as well. She's been doing a lot of that.
Yeah, well, it was great to hang out and get a little, PLL love before the big holiday episode.
Yes.
So thank you guys, as always, for hanging out with us. Please make sure to tweet and let us know what you thought about tonight's fan appreciation episode. And use the hashtag PLLABTV so we can get all of your comments and quotes and we can all, chat about it.
Absolutely.
And I guess we'll see you guys for Christmas.
I know. How crazy is that? So excited.
Yes. So make sure to follow us here at AfterBuzz TV on all the social media channels. And you can follow me at Kellie with an IE 079.
And you can follow me at Stephanie Wenger.
We'll see you guys.
Soon.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, soon. Happy Halloween, everybody.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.